Hey guys, how y'all doing this morning, this afternoon? Yeah, I think it's like noon-ish. It's my day off. Um, I am sitting on the floor in my study, which is a disaster zone because we're getting ready to move. It's my official story, and yeah, we're getting ready to move. Anyways, I do have a bunch of boxes, a bunch of stuff packed, and my kids are sleeping in the living room, so trying to make this quietly. I was doing my little Facebook routine this morning, going through different stuff. I have a bunch of things I subscribe to, and I was looking at a video on police the polices, police the police, police the police. Anyways, yeah, their Facebook page. They sometimes have some cool videos. But it was just a video on the militarization of the police, and the actually the scary prospects of that uh, in America. You know, it's uh, definitely something to ponder. To a degree. I'm not like all anarchist or whatever. I mean, there has to be somebody to force law and order. I don't. You can't not enforce law and order. I mean, you can't. I understand the concept of deferring to man's better nature, but at the end of the day, there are plenty of people in this world that don't have that better nature or don't ascribe to a higher standard of living of a moral conscious, to do right. Maybe it's their um, maybe it's their upbringing or their circumstances surrounding their life, or there's justifiable reasons why they're the way they are. But in my brief time on this planet, I have met some pretty evil people. I mean, I mentioned my time in prison. And there's a large percentage of people in prison that are pretty good, but there is a percentage of just good for nothing, no good people. So, yeah, I mean, the stuff going on with the uh, with the police force and militarization of the police and the cities. I mean, literally, I mean, these guys are coming through the streets with tanks. I mean, they've got these decommissioned war vehicles that come from Iraq and different places like that, and they bring them back over here and they make them police vehicles, which is kind of scary. Um, I definitely don't think we need a police state. I understand we need police. Take police out of the equation. The drug cartels will run rampant. The gangbangers or whatever. They are not a result of police. You have to have some measure of structure, but there has to be a balance. I mean, because you can abuse the power from the side of the the governors, or you can abuse it from the side of the governed. You take the governors out of the way, somebody will rise up to take the governing's place. That's just goes without saying. It's just human nature. There will always be a strive for power. And uh, so I, what's the answer? And that's one of my big questions. And I look scruffy. Need shave. Apologize for my hippie-ish looking tendencies today. Anyways, yeah, the the governed, you know, um, human nature, the fallacy of man. So I mean, there has to be a fine line somewhere, because there's always going to be somebody stepping in and abuse the power. Um, I'm not a big fan of unions, but at the same time, and I'm a huge fan of capitalism, but at the same time, capitalism run rampant without any checks and balance systems. You got what's happening over in China right now. You've got you go back to early turn of the century America, where they had kids working in factories and 7-hour work weeks and shifts, and I mean they kept people like slaves. I mean there's all kinds of um, information you can look up on that. So I mean, yeah, there has to be a checks and balances system, but at the same time, and I've said it before, you know, the capitalist countries, I mean, it's one of the few countries where people have an ability to strive, but you know, um, my pajamas. My mom bought me those a few years back. They're uh, they're football pajamas with the guy running with. Yeah. So yeah, no, it's my day off. To hell with it. Me being in my pajamas making a video bothers somebody. You don't have to look. Not trying to offend anybody. Hey, at least I don't have my shirt off and I'm not, showing off my fat belly and all my tattoos and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So no, I mean, there's I mean, I guess, I'm just kind of voicing my opinion, because I mean, I see things where like I agree with aspects of it, I mean, like, I agree with things that certain people say, I'm an oxymoron. I'm not full left, full right. I'm conservative, I'm libertarian to a degree. But there's aspects of things where a lot of the liberals, that they speak out against capitalist corruption, and I mean you had the bailouts and all this money that was funneled into these corporations like Bank of America, where they basically took billions of dollars and gave nothing back, foreclosing on homes all over the United States, not approving loans, things like that. I've got friends that were victims of it. A friend of mine, Casey. Well, she's actually a client of mine that I've done work for in the past, but we kept in touch on Facebook, and she dealt with it, and she's not. She's got a job. She works. She had some issues with Bank of America foreclosing on her home or something like that. I don't know the whole story, but it was pretty shady the way a lot of it went down. You know, um, I owed Bank of America money. I ended up paying them off, but they ruined a little bit of my credit in the process. But they were allowing. I made the mistake. I made a lot of mistakes when I first got out of prison because I didn't understand how things work. But I had some people automatically debiting from my account, and I'm 37 years old, but I'm learning lessons that a lot of people learn in their 20s because um, you know, it's just part of life, So I'm figured things out. I'm in the process of trying to build my credit up to get a house here very soon. But uh, uh, the uh, get sidetracked, chasing the rabbit down the hole. Anyways, so yeah, no, I had to deal with that, and they were letting people debit from my account, even if I closed that account and opened a new account with them, and said, hey, I'm done with that account. Stop letting people pull from it. I can't, get them to stop. Blah blah blah, and uh, uh, they kept on letting them pull, and then every time they let them pull, they hit me with an overdraft, and so it just got insane. I just walked away. I went and opened an account elsewhere and let it ride, and then $500 later and some change on my credit, and you know, them putting it on my credit, it was one of the worst things on my credit that there was, and so that I had to take care of that, try to get my credit repaired, whether I agree with what they did or not. Um, so yeah, all this billions of dollars was funneled into these companies, and they padded their accounts and they went on vacations and they gave out bonuses, and so yeah, I mean, capitalism can be corrupt from both aspects of it. I mean, there are some countries, um, um, that I've seen that have done some really cool things, like Iceland. Iceland kicked all the. I mean, they let them fall. They let them fall, and instead of bailing out the big corporations, they they gave money to their citizens. They build out their citizens, the people that make the country, as opposed to the minority, and they've got one of the most thriving economies in the world right now. So, anyways, police state. Um, police state. I mean, so. I mean, and I got off on capitalism because I mean, there's two aspects to it. That there's corrupt man. You got to have police. I believe that. I believe that standing military is evident. I support our troops. I don't support America using our troops to facilitate the will of big corporations or big money or centralized banking, world banking systems, but I definitely support our troops, because a majority of them aren't over there, and there are crooked cops. I've seen some cops do some crazy things, but there are some cops that, do it for the right reasons. But, once you get into the system and you get caught up with, you know, I mean, you got to make a living. And so they can't help but to be, uh, 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 sorry, I was I was subconsciously opening up a Reese's peanut butter cup, and I realized that I should say that until I finish this video. Yeah, my etiquette is lacking. My apologies. It was just reflex, Cookie Monster in me. That's why I'm going on a diet this year and start working out again. Anyways, but yeah, no, it's and they get caught up in the system. When I was locked up, a lot of the guards were just as institutionalized as the inmates, because it's a whole other world, a whole other mindset, a whole other set of rules that you go by. And the guards have just as much of a prison mentality as the inmates do. And so even, and I say that to say, that they may have not have joined to become a guard for a, correctional unit, with the intention of being an asshole. But the victim of circumstances, I think, or circumstances that they themselves, brought upon themselves. But, same thing goes with the cops. You'll get some crooked cops, and a lot of them just get caught up in stuff. And sometimes they see too much bad stuff from the criminal aspect, and they become jaded, and whatnot. Some of them are just cowards with a badge, which is why they do stupid things like shoot unarmed people, and some of them have been in situations where they have watched a cop get killed by criminals, and maybe they're not the bravest of individuals, but they wanted to make a difference, and they roll upon a situation, and the cop just got shot last week from some guys, and so he's already not a very brave person, and he's trying to do the right thing, and then freaks out and shoots an unarmed man, because he's I mean, in essence, he wanted to do the right thing, but he's a pussy. He's scared. And that sounds derogative, but and I mean they so it's a back and forth thing, the system itself is broken, but there has to be a system in place. I mean, that's my take on it. I don't know what you think about that. I mean, there has to be something in place. There has to be a checks and balance system. I mean, the Constitution is great, but human fallacy has found a way to subvert it on various different levels. And find their loopholes or rewrite law. The intentions were there initially, but yeah, um, capitalism, police states, things like that. There's two sides to it. I I study a little bit of history, and I see things. I know things about certain um, leaders that have been uh, um, immortalized. They're icons of the century. I know there were things that they did, that weren't very good. Although they stand for and represent, because the way history writes it, good things. You know, and I don't know where I was going with that, but his. Anyways, yeah. Sorry. Actually, I know where I was going with that, but it was going to get off on a whole different tangent from the initial subject of the video, what it was supposed to be. So yeah, no, all two of my subscribers, or anybody that watches this, if you have a thought process on it, by all means, comment. I'm gonna try to make more videos, try to do something with this. Maybe I'm kind of enjoy doing it, and I will try to refine my videos a little better. I'm not versed in this type of thing, but I enjoy talking, even if a couple people listen, and maybe I'll say something worthwhile. Uh, if you like what I'm talking about, maybe like my videos, share my videos to people who might be of the like mind. Um, if you don't like my videos, share 'em and cuss me out. Tell people what idiot I am. But help me get the word out, and that's cool too. But yeah, that's really it. I was looking at this video on the police states and whatnot, and I agree. A lot of it's out of hand. A lot of our corrupt police are out of hand. But I think there has to be police. There has to be a law. There has to be a centralized governing body. It has to be limited though, because ultimate power ultimately corrupts. I think that's it. I don't know. I heard that somewhere, but look it up. Somebody quoted that. I don't know. Anyways, that's it. It's time for me to eat my Reese's. Time for me to eat my Reese's. And I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good one.